8. Give the analytical overview of interstate migration in India. Also, critically analyze how far the migration has affected the women in Indian society. Hint: migration and urbanization are direct manifestations of the process of economic development, particularly in the contemporary phase of globalization. According to a recent estimate, interstate labor migration has increased in India, constituting 8.1% of the total workforce of the country. Migration pattern in India. High levels of migration. This is evident from census data, which says about 5 to 6.5 million people migrated annually between states during 2001 to 2011. Railway passenger data put this figure at nearly 9 million. This can be attributed for getting better economic opportunities due to falling agriculture incomes, urbanization and globalization. Language is not a barrier. In labor migration, geographic distance appears to be an obstacle than a linguistic and cultural variability. The relatively developed states like Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Delhi, etc. attract the most number of migrants. Migration is accelerating, rising to 4.5% per annum in 2001 to 11 from 2.4% in 1991-2001. This can be attributed to falling agricultural incomes due to climate change or monsoon failures. According to Census 2001, 8.1% of Indian workforce migrated for economic reasons. The economic boom started in 2000, which opened up many high-paying jobs, made it financially prudent for people to move for jobs. Male-dominant migration. It is also observed that 80% of migrants are males, and the share of women in migrant force is also increasing, which was hitherto negligible. This is evident from the feminization of agriculture and falling women contribution to GDP and workforce participation. Interstate migrant flow between the states are lower than flows within states. To an estimate, the flow within the state is 4 times than between states. Gender disparity is coming down, with female mobility increasing from almost zero to almost the same as male mobility. Though part of the trend can be attributed to women migrating with their husbands for their jobs, there is a growing number of females migrating for their own jobs. Negative effect of migration on women. Negotiated identities. Destruction of social and family life, and women not residing in extended families are faced with a loss of their identity when their male counterparts migrate to other places. Younger wives are more likely to be living away from their husbands than older wives. This is reflective of labor migration being highly selective of younger men. Financial hardships and increased responsibilities for women. Responsibilities outside the home may in some instances increase the work burden of women. Domestic responsibilities may be shared by the older daughter, who acts as a little surrogate mother to her brothers and sisters. Child-women ratio. A study carried out in Ludhiana district of Punjab, addressing the effect of rural to urban migration on fertility, finds generally higher fertility among migrants than non-migrants. There are economic factors relating higher fertility to higher rates of migration. Feminization of agriculture. Migration of young male population from villages has resulted in feminization of agriculture. But women face many challenges in this patriarchal society, including that of availing of credit from banks, as they generally don't have properties registered in their names. Vulnerable to violence. In case of male members away, women are at greater risk to gender crimes. Women migrants to other cities after their marriage or for employment also face these hurdles. Lack of manpower also hinders availing quality services in villages, because of whose absence they migrated at first place. Positive effect of migration on women. Autonomy and control. To cope with the low level of remittances, women often take up employment in the informal sector and learn to administer household budgets. Self-esteem and role expansion. Acquisition of skills in tasks not traditionally undertaken by women. In the absence of husbands, women are de facto household heads and execute various responsibilities such as hiring and supervision of agricultural labor, dismantling in gender-segregated roles. For men, separation from their wives necessitates undertaking domestic tasks that they would not have otherwise done. It can be seen that women are largely facing the brunt of distress caused by the migration. There is an urgent need to tackle this unsustainable pace of migration and ameliorate the condition of women. The success of social welfare programs like MGNREGA in checking migration must be replicated in affected areas. There is an urgent need to give impetus to programs like Gram Uday, Southeast Bharat Uday, along availing services and employment at village level. Way forward, specific recommendations to prevent subsistence or forced migration sustained availability of work at the grassroots level. Community works, conservation of forest resources, revival of traditional water supply systems should be taken up to increase the productivity. Irrigation facilities should be provided so that the production of more than one crop a year can be done. Minor and micro irrigation facilities along with renovation of traditional water harvesting systems should be taken up. Distress paddy selling should be avoided by giving correct price. Employment opportunities, particularly self-employment opportunities, should be created at village level to check migration. SHGs should be made sustainable and the members should be given intensive capacity building, marketing linkage facilities, etc. Along with this, migration is also a progressive force, bringing transformation into the lives of those migrated. However, they should be provided the health, PDS, education benefits in the new places through transferable state benefit system. The associated concept types of migration. Migration is the temporary or permanent change in the residence with associates changes in social and cultural life. However, migrations differ in terms of direction, distance, duration and purpose/motive behind the movement. Cyclic or circulatory migration, circular migration or repeat migration is the temporary and usually repetitive movement of the migrant worker between home and host areas, typically for the purpose of employment. It represents an established pattern of population mobility, whether cross-country or rural-urban. Internal and external. International migration. Migration is also classified as internal and external. When people migrate within the country of their birth/residence/domicile, it is called internal migration. When people move from one country to another, it is called international migration. Such migrations involve crossing the borders of the countries. Sometimes the driving force is a push factor. Forced or impelled migration, when individuals or groups decide to leave their home country in order to avoid devastation caused by drought, famine, epidemics, war, civil strife, or terrorizing dictatorial regimes, it is called forced migration. Periodic migration. Periodic movements are related to vacations, fun-making or business. In India, periodic movements of millions of people are a common phenomenon. These travels are related to pilgrimage to sacred places, large fairs, etc. 9. Identify the factors responsible for the distribution of cotton textile industry in India and analyze its pattern. Hint: distribution of an industry is determined by combination of geographical and non-geographical factors, which is also true for cotton industry in India. Combination of these factors have resulted into decentralized distribution of cotton industry in India, with major centers being Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Surat, Tirunelveli, Chennai, etc. Factors for localization of cotton industry. Geographical factors. Various factors like land, raw materials, power, labor, transport, market, water, climate, and non-geographical factors. Capital, government policies, insurance, banking facilities and financial institutions. Stable economic and political situation tend to impact location of industries. With respect to cotton, also the large availability for cotton growing hinterland in black soil region, availability of labor force, transportation facilities of road, rail and port, large market in form of Mumbai and opportunities for exports resulted into a concentration of cotton industries initially in Mumbai region. These above factors were also aided by the availability of financial institutions in Mumbai, stable political environment provided by British during the initial periods. The suitability of environment for cotton mill operation was another added advantage for the region. Later on, because of degglomeration effects, the industry spread to Ahmedabad Surat regions of Gujarat, which has all the advantages of raw material hinterland, market, infrastructure, capital, etc. Cotton textile industry further flourished in southern India with Tirunelveli, Chennai, etc. emerging as the main centers. These also had the advantages of cotton growing hinterland of Kaveri River, large market centered around populous Chennai city, port facilities for exports, etc. With development approaching all the corners of India, commercialization of agriculture, the cotton industry at present gives decentralized look, having centers spread across India showing concentration towards markets. Distribution. Cotton textile industry. Maharashtra is the leading producer of cotton textile in the country. Mumbai is the major center of textile mills. About a half of the cotton textile mills are located in Mumbai alone. It is, therefore, rightly called as Cotton Police of India. Sholapur, Kolhapur, Nagpur, Pune, Aurangabad and Jalgaon are other important centers in Maharashtra. Gujarat, which ranks second in the production of cotton textiles, Ahmedabad is the major center of the state. Surat, Barat, Vadodara, Bhavnagar and Rajkot are other centers in the state. Tamil Nadu has emerged as an important producer of cotton textiles in southern states. Coimbatore is an important center in the state. Tirunelveli, Chennai, Madurai, Tirupati, Salem and Tanjavur are other important centers here. Apart from Big Three, Karnataka, Udupi Kanpur, Etawah, Modnagar, Varanasi, Madhya Pradesh, West Bengal Howrah, Brampur and Murshidabad and Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana and Andhra Pradesh are the other states producing cotton textiles. The location of cotton textile industry is an example of market forces transforming the character of agriculture of subsistence to commercial nature and bringing prosperity to the region by sucking excess labor force. There is a need to replicate this experience in eastern parts of India where still subsistence level of agriculture is practiced. Associated concepts location of sugar industry. Sugar industry is the second largest agro-based industry of India. If we take corn, consory and sugar together, then India becomes the largest producer of sugar product in the world. This industry employs about 2.5 lakh people. Distribution. Most of the sugar mills are concentrated in 6 states, namely Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. Localization factors. The following are the factors for the localization of sugar industry. Sugar cane is the main raw material for making sugar. Sugar mills can be set up only in the sugar cane producing areas. Sugar cane gets dry soon after harvesting. It can neither be stored nor kept for a long period of time. Sugar cane should be taken immediately to the sugar mills after harvesting. Transportation cost of sugar cane is high. Generally, sugar cane is transported through bullock carts which can carry it up to 20 to 25 kilometers. Recently, tractor trolleys and trucks have been used to carry sugar cane to the sugar mills. GS score 1-4 hints. Indian geography. Beside these factors, capital, market, labor and power also play significant role in localization of this industry. Reasons for shifting of sugar industry from North India to Peninsular India. Sugar cane industry is gradually shifting from North Indian states to states in Peninsular India. Some of the important reasons the production of sugar cane per hectare is higher is Peninsular India. In fact, sugar cane crop grows well in the tropical climate of South India. The sucrose content is higher in the tropical variety of sugar cane grown in the south. The crushing season in South India is longer than in North India. In South India, most of the mills have modern machinery. Most of the mills in Peninsular India are in cooperative sector, where profit maximization is not the sole objective. 10. Do you think India need new white revolution? What are the scope and challenges in this endeavor? Hints. The white revolution in 1970s catapulted India from a milk-deficient nation to largest producer of milk and in the process achieving inclusive growth cooperative sector and ensuring food security. However, new challenges and new opportunities have emerged in the dairy sector which have the possibility of transforming the dairy sector and making Indian agriculture growth more sustainable and entrepreneurship driven. This demands a new white revolution. Need for a new white revolution. India has become the largest milk producer of the world, but new dynamics are evolving which mark the layout of the new white revolution, which are, as Indian urbanization level increases and demographic and economic profile changes, there is going to be greater demand for processes animal fats. The quality standards of the milk products are not up to the world-class level and many instances of food adulteration have been found. The foreign trade of Indian dairy sector is limited. There is a need to extend the white revolution to the eastern sector and especially northeast India. The level of processing in the dairy sector is limited to nearly 30%, which is very low as compared to Western countries. The white revolution of 1970s was achieved with the help of cooperatives, but after the liberalization of 1991, a large number of private sector companies have been established and driving the sector's growth. There is a need to strengthen the regulatory mechanism to ensure that milk producers, consumers' interests are protected and small entrepreneurs are promoted. A whole set of challenges remain in this regard. The productivity of Indian livestock is very low as compared to global standards. Animal rearing in India is practiced as ancillary activity and most of the farmers have small number of cattle. This increases the cost of milk collection. The feed, fodder for animals is not available sufficiently. India has 16% of world cattle but just 0.5% of world's pasture land. With increasing urbanization, industrialization, these lands are further under stress. Certain areas like eastern states, Andhra Pradesh contribute very minimal to the milk collected. The tropical climate makes Indian livestock vulnerable to health problems. The credit and insurance penetration in the sector is low. However, government is seized of the situation and has taken a number of steps in this regard, some of them like a new scheme Rashtriya Gokul Mission has been initiated for the first time in the country under which 18 Gokul grams in 12 different states are being set up. Also, 2 awards Gokul Ratna Award for upkeep of the best dairy animals of indigenous breeds and Kamthenu Award for institutions maintaining best herd of indigenous breeds. This year on World Milk Day 10 Gokul Ratna and 12 Kamthenu Awards have been awarded. 2 national Kamthenu breeding centers, one each in Andhra Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh, are being set up for conservation of indigenous breeds. In these centers 41 cattle and 13 buffalo breeds would be conserved. In order to make dairy business more profitable, National Bovine Productivity Mission has been initiated with creation of ePashu portal. This is playing an important role in linking milk producers and breeders for indigenous breeds. Union Agriculture and Farmers Welfare Minister further said that a scheme titled Dairy Processing and Infrastructure Development Fund (DIDF) for dairy cooperative sector has been initiated with an outlay of Rs.10,881 crore. This scheme would focus on creation of additional milk processing infrastructure and chilling infrastructure through setting up of bulk milk coolers. Also, provisions have been made for providing electronic milk adulteration testing equipment and facilities for manufacturing value-added products. Vaccination programs for foot and mouth disease are being conducted. Though these efforts are laudable, a set of new steps like making cooperatives work more professional as competition from private sector is increasing, making Indian dairy sector entrepreneur-driven so as to make it capable of taking on global industry, incentivizing the setting of animal feed plants and sourcing best practices from developed countries and clubbing all these initiatives under new name of New White Revolution with special attention to Eastern India, as it will bring greater collaboration and awareness. With 6 lakh villages housing about 90 crore people, dairying is not just a large economic activity but also an integral part of our social and cultural heritage. The transformation of this sector can help in building new India, which is much more healthy, equitable and prosperous. GS scored 1/6 hints. Indian geography. Associated concepts. Operation Flood. A White Revolution. Operation Flood, also known as the White Revolution of India, was a rural development program started by India's National Dairy Development Board (NDDB) in 1970. One of the largest of its kind, the program objective was to create the nationwide milk grid. It resulted in making India the largest producer of milk and milk products, and hence is also called the White Revolution of India. It also helped reduce malpractices by milk traders and merchants. This revolution followed the Indian Green Revolution and helped in alleviating poverty and famine levels from dangerous proportions in India during the era. Varghese Kurian gave the professional management skills and necessary thrust to the cooperative, and is considered the architect of India's White Revolution. Operation Flood. Operation Flood has helped farmers direct their own development, placing control of the resources they create in their own hands. A national milk grid links milk producers throughout India with consumers in over 700 towns and cities, reducing seasonal and regional price variations while ensuring that the producer gets a major share of the price consumers pay. The bedrock of Operation Flood has been village milk producers' cooperatives, which procure milk and provide inputs and services, making modern management and technology available to members. Operation Flood's objectives included increase milk production to flood of milk, augment rural incomes, fair prices for consumers. Section B11. Why total solar eclipses are rare at any particular location on the Earth's continental surface. What do you understand by Bailey's bead effect during the solar eclipse? Explain the impact of solar eclipse on Earth. Hint. Total solar eclipse is the condition in which a moon moves between the Earth and the Sun and thus covers the entire Sun. However, this phenomenon is very rare because most of the time the moon passes a little above or little below the Sun and thus is not able to cover the entire Sun. Even if the moon comes exactly in line with the Sun, the shadow of moon is so small that it covers very little area over the Earth. Most of the time this shadow falls over the water bodies and thus humans cannot see solar eclipse over continents. Condition of perigee must be satisfied when Sun, Moon, and Earth comes in the straight line. Bailey's bead effect. Moon surface is not exactly plane and contains some mountains and canyons. When moon passes over Sun during a solar eclipse, the canyons over the moon allows beams of sunlight to pass through the moon's periphery. This phenomenon in which bead of light of the Sun is seen during solar eclipse is called Bailey's bead effect. GS score. Hint: Indian Geography 17. Impact of solar eclipse on Earth. Researchers who studied an eclipse across Europe in 1999 found that the event lowered air temperatures by as much as 5 degrees F across the path of totality. This brief dip in air temperatures also affected local wind speed and direction. Associated concepts. A total solar eclipse occurs when the disk of the moon appears to completely cover the disk of the Sun in the sky. The fact that total solar eclipses occur at all is a quirk of cosmic geometry. The moon orbits an average of 239,000 miles 385,000 kilometers from Earth, just the right distance to seem the same size in the sky as the much larger Sun. However, these heavenly bodies line up only about once every 18 months. Near the beginning and end of total solar eclipse, the thin slice of the Sun visible appears broken up into beads of light. These lights are called Bailey's beads after the British astronomer Francis Bailey, who discovered them. They occur because the edge of the moon is not smooth but jagged with mountain peaks. When just one bead is visible, the effect is often likened to a diamond ring and hence called as diamond ring effect. 12. What emissions from human activities